Hey everybody, my name is Johnny and I like to talk about games. So today I read that Microsoft and Sony are looking into systems to get ad placements into free games. And I want to be careful here because based on what I've read, this is only free games, although they did hint at eventually even PlayStation games having ad placements. Now I think this is a terrible idea, right? And it won't surprise you. I think everybody hates ads, and in some type of media, I get it, right? If we're talking about YouTube where you're watching for free, by the way, you're watching for free, support the content by subscribing or liking the video, you fucks. Cheers. But it makes sense there that the way to monetize the video is monetizing the viewer, right? And placing ads to them, and you have the option as a viewer to subscribe to premium or whatever it's called so you don't get ads or even run ad block or whatever it may be. But in games, the last thing that you want is breaking your immersion and your enjoyment by seeing a fucking Genshin Impact ad or World of Tanks on the just no, right? There's something different about games where we value that immersion way more than we do like when we're watching a YouTube video or something casual like that. In a game, you want to be in the game, right? And even if it's a free-to-play game, we have found many good ways of monetizing free-to-play games that don't involve ads, like, for example, cosmetics, right? We can look at a game like Dota 2 or even League of Legends to some extent, where they have really cool skins or different cosmetic things that they market, and even the creators get a piece of that, right? So you as an art creator could submit something to the store, and whenever that gets sold, you get some royalties, everybody wins. And once you play a free game enough, you're gonna want to support the game in some way to whatever capacity you can. And I think that system works really well because, as we've talked in the past, you generate some goodwill first, and that naturally makes the player want to contribute to your game. And that to me is the natural system that free-to-play games should adopt. I can only imagine how much it would piss me off if every time I press the main menu I would see an ad. That just would put me off incredibly. I would be so pissed off that in fact I wouldn't want to sub to the game, right? Just because I don't want to condone or support that. I would rather play something else, honestly. At the very least, they should give you an option to sub to the game. Like if we're talking about Final Fantasy XIV, for example, maybe if you're playing the free version, you're getting the ads. If the ads don't go away, even if you're paying a sub, that to me is just criminal, right? There has to be a way to get rid of the ads. And it just sucks that it may come down to that. Like, hey, you want to get rid of the ads? Guess what? You got to pay a monthly sub, right? It's almost getting to the mobile phone territory where every game is either horrible and predatory, in your face with the in-game sales, or you have to pay a monthly sub to get rid of some of that annoyance. It's worked into the system. Now, a cousin of this practice is actually product placement. And that's something that personally I don't think I mind as much. We don't have a lot of examples of this in video games, but of course Death Stranding had a Red Bull drink, right, that you drank in game. I thought it was kind of cool actually, because it's something I could relate to, whether you like Red Bull or not. It's a real drink and it makes sense that someone is drinking it. It's kind of like in a movie, if someone is drinking a Coke, that to me is fine. I don't mind it. In fact, I minded more if they had some kind of made up cola drink that doesn't exist. Like that to me, doesn't feel as real in some way. I actually like the rawness of like a real product, as long as it's not like pushed in your face, right? We have seen movies where Samsung sponsored the whole movie. And so fucking every scene there's someone like putting a Samsung phone to the screen or a Samsung TV, whatever it may be, and that gets annoying as hell. So as long as you keep it contextual and that it makes sense, I think product placements can actually make sense and help make it a bit more like grounded in some way. So I don't mind them as long as they're not too many and that they're placed in a way that makes sense. So I would much rather see that in addition to the already established methods of monetizing, like we talked about, selling cosmetics or extra in-game things that don't detract from the experience too much. We have seen examples of things that actually do hurt the gaming experience, like XP packs. You could just say, well, I don't have the time, so I actually like the XP packs to expedite my experience, and I would agree with that. I think that on paper is good, but the problem is that that XP pack gets kind of worked into the progression in the game, and now your normal progression without the XP packs maybe is really slow or painfully slow, even, as we've seen in some games. Like Ubisoft had some bad cases with this, where main quests are level gated and you can't really just do the main quests if you wanted to without the XP packs. You really have to go in and do side quests, which in their defense, some are great, right? Some side content is great in their games, but in my opinion, you should be able to just do the main story if that's what you want to do. By the way, if you got this far in the video, tell me down below if you mind product placements like I talked about, where we see in movies or games where, you know, a product is a part of a scene. That actually doesn't bother me much, but I'm really curious to hear if, you know, you guys watching. Maybe I'm in the minority, so let me know down below. But, you know, I'm the kind of person who, if I really enjoy a game, I will always want to pay to get rid of any, like, advertising or store thing being thrown in my face, right? I would much rather pay, you know, like an initial amount and kind of get rid of all that stuff. And I actually really hate it when games have the store just in your face the whole time, right? I remember when I played that, what was the name of that discount Monster Hunter game? Dauntless. I had to search it up, man, that was killing me. So I played Dauntless, and I didn't really mind the game. I had an issue with the variety of monsters. Many of them were reskins of one another with a different color. But actually had fun with it. The problem for me was that the store was everywhere. You couldn't open a menu without being like, buy shit. If there was a way to pay like, you know, 20 bucks and get rid of all that, I maybe would have done it. And I would love to see that option more in games, because especially with the free-to-play stuff, the only way they find to monetize things is through a store, whether it's cosmetics or whatever it may be. But I would just love to have the option to get that out of my face, right? Pay money, throw money at them to get that out of my face at the very least. Or have some option where you're paying, so it's no longer free to play, and with that comes some expectations like, I don't want to be bothered with your store. I will go in there if I want to contribute and look at what's cool, but I don't want it thrown at my face the whole time. So to wrap up the enchilada here, I think that in 2022, a lot of games are going free to play. This has been established as a valid model. We have many good games that are up and running for years now in the free to play model. And I'm a little scared that the direction we're going towards is kind of like the mobile game design, where you have all these, you know, microtransaction things, and you can't even anymore pay. You can't even pay to get rid of them at this point. They're so ingrained in the UI and everything. So for me, I just want to have the option to get rid of them, but either by paying a sub or just a one-off amount and just buy the game outright. And so I hope Microsoft and Sony don't add ads to absolutely every game, or at least they only do it for free-to-play games, and they remove them if you pay the sub, like in Final Fantasy XIV or other MMOs. Just preserving the gaming experience for people who want to take it seriously and want to be immersed in a game. Those are my thoughts. Let me know if you disagree. And as always, thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.